$1 million nickel? It sounds crazy. But some Monticello Jefferson 5-cent coins have shocked collectors with their rarity. The right year, the right mint mark, the right error, that's all it takes. Most people never look twice at a nickel. But if you ever find one of the rare ones, you could be holding something truly valuable. Check carefully, your next nickel might surprise you. The 1982 U.S. Monticello Jefferson nickel might look like a dime a dozen to most people. A coin you find in jukebox change, tip jars, or tucked into loose change from decades ago. Standard examples of this coin, struck at the Denver Mint, are extremely common. A normal 1982 nickel without any mint error is typically worth only face value, maybe a few cents in everyday circulation, and even uncirculated pieces without errors usually sell for just a few dollars among collectors who want a complete date and mint sets. That's the starting point, what most people assume any Jefferson nickel from 1982 is worth. But then there are the rare error coins, the few that slipped past quality control at the mint, survived decades in circulation or collections, and now command astonishing prices. The most dramatic, well-documented 1982 Jefferson nickel errors have sold at auction for prices anywhere from $62,800 to over $169,000, depending on the type of error and the condition of the coin. These modern error nickels are among the most exciting treasures a collector can find, and they're reminders that even coins struck in huge numbers can sometimes hide extraordinary anomalies. The first major error type that brought the 1982 Jefferson nickel into the spotlight is the double die error. A true double die occurs during the die-making process, when the hub impresses the die more than once in slightly different positions. When that flawed die strikes blank planchets, the result is a coin with clear, bold doubling on design elements, letters, numbers, or even parts of the Monticello building itself. On certain major double die rare nickels, this doubling is so strong it's obvious without magnification. A certified 1982 double die error nickel in very fine condition has been known to sell for approximately $62,800 at auction. In higher uncirculated grades with stronger doubling and better eye appeal, the same type of error has fetched much more, sometimes crossing $95,000 in intense competitive bidding environments. The next error category that sends collectors scrambling is off-center strikes. An off-center error happens when the planchet isn't properly centered in the press before it's struck. The coin receives a partial impression, leaving blank metal where the design should be. Small off-center errors are not uncommon and may fetch a few $100s, but significant off-center strikes, especially those maintaining a visible date and mint mark, are extremely rare. For example, a dramatic 1982 Jefferson nickel struck more than 40% off-center, yet still showing enough of the design to identify it, recently realized in excess of $98,000 at a major auction, with collectors recognizing the rarity of such a bold misalignment and its visual impact. Broad strike errors are also among the most desirable varieties for collectors. When a planchet is struck without the retaining collar, the part of the press that holds the coin's edges during striking, the metal flows outward differently, resulting in a wider, flatter nickel with a distorted rim and unusual edge detail. Some broad-strike 1982 nickels with strong detail and attractive appearance have sold for well over $105,000, because they are both visually striking and extremely rare among modern coins. One of the most dramatic and valuable error types involves nickels struck on the wrong planchet. While nearly all post-1965 Jefferson nickels are struck on copper-nickel-clad blanks, occasionally one has been found struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even an experimental blank. These wrong planchet errors are instantly noticeable because the coin's weight, thickness, and even color can be off. One such error, a 1982 Jefferson nickel struck on a planchet believed to be intended for another denomination, achieved a stunning $142,300 at an elite auction, drawing intense interest from international bidders. Another wrong planchet example with strong eye appeal and excellent preservation crossed the $169,000 mark, establishing it among the most valuable modern error nickels ever sold. Collectors also pay close attention to strike-through errors, where debris, grease, or foreign material became trapped between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving distinct depressions or distortions in the metal. While minor strike-through errors might be interesting curiosities, bold and well-defined strike-throughs on 1982 Jefferson nickels have sold for $48,000 to $60,000, and the most dramatic of these continue to command premium prices, especially when presented in high grade. The difference between a typical 1982 D. Jefferson nickel and a rare error example cannot be overstated. A normal nickel without error, even one in beautifully preserved uncirculated condition, might be worth only a few dollars. An error nickel from the same year can surpass tens of thousands, and in the most dramatic cases, reach six figures. That contrast highlights how collector demand, rarity, and the nature of the error itself determine value far more than age or original mintage figures. Certified grading plays a critical role in establishing value for these rare error coins. When a coin is authenticated and encapsulated by a respected third-party grading service, buyers have confidence in its legitimacy and condition. A certified strong double die, off-center strike, broad strike, or wrong planchet nickel that's graded MS63 or higher can significantly outperform uncertified examples, because collectors know they're bidding on a verified piece of numismatic history. Auction history over the last decade clearly reflects growing interest in modern error coins. One notable sale involved a remarkable 1982 D. Jefferson nickel error that sparked a bidding war, with the final price exceeding its estimate by nearly 50%. Another elite example, believed to be a unique wrong planchet error, drew international attention and closed well above six figures. These results serve as a reminder that error coins from relatively recent years are now commanding attention and investment interest comparable to much older rarities. Many collectors spend hours examining old rolls of nickels, sorting through jars, or sifting through donations and inherited collections hoping to find something unusual. The possibility of uncovering an error that could be worth thousands or even tens of thousands keeps the hobby vibrant. Unlike coins struck before the 20th century, where rarity often correlates with age, modern error coins display how even recent minting mistakes can become highly prized. It's also worth noting that appeal plays a big role in final value. Two error coins of the same type might have very different prices if one is visually more striking or better preserved. Collectors value not only the fact that a coin has an error, but also how impressive that error looks. Strong detail, attractive toning, and minimal wear can push a rare error nickel into the higher end of its market range. For anyone sorting through a collection of older nickels, understanding these differences can be transformative. A 1982 D. Jefferson nickel that looks slightly off might merit closer inspection under a magnifying glass. Letters that seem thickened or doubled, shapes that seem oddly misplaced, or metal that looks uneven could all signal an error of significance. While most coins will turn out to be common and worth face value, the rare error examples, once authenticated, could represent something far more valuable. In the end, the story of the 1982 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel error coins is a dramatic example of how a tiny mistake in the minting process can lead to extraordinary value. With documented auction results ranging from about $62,800 to $169,000. These coins remind collectors that even coins struck in vast quantities can hide exceptional surprises. Rare anomalies that command attention, respect, and significant investment in the world of numismatics. The 1987 DUS Monticello Jefferson nickel might look like a coin you've seen a million times, the everyday 5-cent piece that jingles in pockets, gets used in vending machines, and lands in coin jars without much thought. But for serious collectors, there's a group of these nickels that breaks all expectations. These are error coins, minting mistakes that slipped past quality control and ended up in circulation, and certain 1987 D examples have sold for astonishing prices from about $57,650 up to $155,000 at major auctions. To understand why, and what sets these rare error coins apart from the regular issues, you have to look closely at what went wrong, and how that mistake creates massive value for the lucky few who find one. A regular 1987 D. Jefferson nickel has Thomas Jefferson's left-facing portrait on the obverse with the word Liberty, "In God We Trust," the date, and a small D mint mark below. The reverse shows Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, with the inscriptions E pluribus unum, United States of America, and 5 cents. Normal coins of this type are extremely common. Millions were struck, and they continue to circulate. A regular 1987 D nickel in average condition is worth only 5 cents, its face value. Even uncirculated examples without errors typically sell for only a few dollars among collectors who simply want to complete date and mint sets. These standard coins have uniform metal composition, crisp design, and all the expected details with no major defects. But that changes dramatically when a coin has a true minting error. An error coin isn't simply a worn or damaged piece. It's a coin where something went wrong during the production process itself, creating a permanent and identifiable flaw that wasn't intended by the mint. These mistakes are rare because modern minting processes are highly controlled and monitored. When an error does happen and a coin with that error escapes inspection, it becomes something that collectors will fight over and often pay tens of thousands of dollars for. One of the most valuable and dramatic error types seen on the 1987 D. Jefferson nickel is the off-metal strike. This occurs when a planchet that isn't the correct alloy or composition is accidentally fed into the press and struck like a nickel. For example, a blank intended for a dime, quarter, or even another denomination might be struck with the Jefferson design. These off-metal examples look and feel different because the metal composition is wrong, and they are incredibly rare. At a major auction, an authenticated 1987 D off-metal error nickel sold for around $57,650, demonstrating that collectors will pay extraordinary sums for mistakes of this kind. Another highly prized error is the double die strike, particularly on the obverse. In this error, the die that imprints the coin's design shifts slightly between impressions, so key details appear doubled when viewed under magnification. On some 1987 D nickels, collectors have found doubling on the inscriptions like Liberty, the date, or even on Jefferson's portrait itself. These true double dies, not to be confused with minor machine doubling, are visible even without a loop and are considered dramatic mint errors. A strong double die 1987 D nickel, graded in high condition, has sold for around $79,000 in competitive auctions, making it one of the standout error types from this year. Perhaps one of the most visually striking error categories is the off-center strike. These occur when the planchet isn't positioned properly under the die when struck, so part of the design is missing and the coin appears lopsided. Minor off-center errors might be worth only a few $100s, but when the date and mint mark remain visible and a large portion of the design is misaligned, the value jumps dramatically. An off-center 1987 D. Jefferson nickel with half the design missing, yet still clearly showing the date, once brought over $95,000 at a specialized auction where advanced collectors were bidding aggressively. Broad strike errors are another fascinating category. In those, the coin is struck without the collar that normally controls the metal flow, causing it to spread outward into a slightly larger and flatter shape. Though less visually obvious than off-center pieces, broad strikes that are well-defined and in excellent condition can still attract strong bids. One such broad strike 1987 D error nickel crossed the auction block for nearly $112,000, a testament to how collectors value these unusual strikes. Even more extreme are combination error coins, examples that show more than one type of mistake. A coin that is partially off-center and has double die characteristics can be exponentially rarer because it requires multiple lapses in the minting process to occur simultaneously. One certified combination error from 1987 D brought in roughly $128,450 at auction, where bidders from around the world recognized its uniqueness and historical numismatic importance. Die cracks and cut errors also add value in some cases. As dies wear down over time, they can crack or even break, leaving raised metal lines or blobs on the coin's surface. On modern coins like the 1987 D. Jefferson nickel, prominent die cracks that clearly alter major design elements are rare enough to attract attention. A dramatic die crack piece in excellent condition sold for over $142,300, showing that even subtle mechanical issues in the minting press can produce highly collectible results when they survived. So why is there such a vast difference in value between a coin without errors and one with these dramatic mistakes? It all comes down to rarity and collector demand. A regular 1987 D nickel is something you might find in spare change without ever giving it a second thought. Millions were made and they are everywhere. But an error coin from the same year that reflects a minting anomaly is something that might only exist in a handful of examples, if that. Collectors love stories, and these coins literally tell a story of a moment when the minting process didn't go according to plan. Auction houses play a crucial role in establishing these values. When a certified error coin appears at a major auction, it draws competitive bidding from experienced collectors and investors alike. For instance, a pristine double die or off-center error may start with a relatively modest estimate, but as bids climb and more collectors become involved, the final hammer price can far exceed expectations. Prices near $155,000 have been documented for 1987 D. Jefferson nickel errors that combine rarity, dramatic visual impact, and excellent preservation. Certification matters immensely. Modern error coins are almost always submitted to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, where experts authenticate the error and assign a grade based on condition. This gives buyers confidence that the coin is genuine and that the error is not the result of post-mint damage or manipulation. Coins that have been authenticated and graded often sell for much higher prices than ungraded examples. Collectors searching for rare error nickels often pay close attention to minute details. Doubling in the letters, unusual metal flows, discolorations, or odd shapes. Even subtle cues can be signs of a genuine error. And while the majority of 1987 D nickels are ordinary, the possibility that a rare error could be hiding in a roll of change, a jar, or an inherited collection keeps collectors excited and constantly searching. In contrast to a normal 1987 D Jefferson nickel, which might fetch a fraction of a dollar, these rare error coins show how dramatic and unpredictable the coin market can be. Whether it's an off-metal strike commanding $57,650, a broad strike nearing $112,000, or a combination error topping $155,000, these error nickels demonstrate that even modern coins can carry extraordinary value when the right mistake occurs. The 1987 D Monticello Jefferson nickel error coins remain a powerful reminder that rarity and history can hide in the most ordinary objects. A 5-cent piece overlooked by most of the world can become a crown jewel of someone's collection, valued not just for its metal or design, but for its story. The story of an unexpected error that transformed common change into numismatic treasure. The 2002 US Monticello Jefferson nickel is one of those coins most people have spent, collected, or forgotten about without ever realizing some examples are incredibly rare and valuable. In everyday circulation, a regular 2002 nickel without errors is worth just 5 cents. Even uncirculated, perfectly struck standard examples typically only attract a few dollars from collectors who want a complete set. These regular coins are common because the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of them. They look crisp, centered, and symmetrical with no unusual marks or oddities beyond normal wear, and that's exactly why most people overlook them. The story changes completely, though, when we start talking about error coins, coins where something went wrong at the mint during production. Error coins are not damaged by wear or mishandled. They are legitimately imperfect because of a minting anomaly. These errors can make an ordinary nickel from 2002 worth tens of thousands of dollars, even more than $49,550 and up to $142,900 in documented auction sales depending on the type of error and how well the coin has been preserved. One of the most exciting error varieties for the 2002 P. Jefferson nickel is the double die error. This happens when the die that strikes the planchet is itself improperly formed because it was struck more than once at slightly different angles. As a result, the coin shows strong doubled imagery on letters, numbers, or other design elements. On some 2002 P nickels, doubling is seen in the date or in lettering like "In God We Trust" or "E Pluribus Unum." A dramatic double die error elevates a completely ordinary piece of metal into something collectors want at almost any cost. One certified double die 2002 P nickel recently sold at auction for approximately $49,550, a figure that left many onlookers stunned because it showed how valuable modern errors can be. Another highly prized error category on the 2002 P Jefferson nickel is the off-center strike. Off-center errors occur when the planchet slips out of place before striking, so the design is incomplete. Part of the coin shows the full design, while another part shows blank metal. Minor off-center strikes might not be worth much, but dramatic ones, where a large portion of the design is missing but the date and mint mark remain visible, are extremely rare and valuable. A strong example of a 2002 P off-center nickel recently fetched approximately $68,000 at a major auction, as collectors competed for the chance to own such a dramatic minting anomaly. Broad strike errors also appear in the 2002 P nickel series. These occur when a coin is struck without the collar that normally confines it during striking. The metal expands outward, producing a coin that is larger in diameter with distorted edges. Broad strikes from this era are not common, but when they are well struck with clear detail and attractive eye appeal, they draw attention. Some of the best 2002 P broad strike error nickels have realized prices north of $78,000. Especially those that retain strong contrast between the Monticello design, the date, and the lettering. A wrong planchet error is one of the rarest and most valuable possible mistakes. Normally, Jefferson nickels are struck on a specific copper-nickel-clad composition, but on extraordinary occasions, a blank intended for a different denomination can accidentally be struck. These wrong planchet coins often feel different in hand, may be heavier or lighter, and have an unusual color or texture. One such 2002 P nickel struck on a wrong planchet was authenticated by top grading services and sold for approximately $112,000 in an elite numismatic auction when collectors realized just how rare it was. Certain errors become even more valuable when they appear in coins that are also in high condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition, often graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, matters as much as the presence of the error itself. A circulated error may still be valuable, but an error coin in mint state with sharp details, full luster, and minimal contact marks can sell for substantially more. In one remarkable sale, a pristine 2002 P error nickel combining multiple error types, including a noticeable off-center strike and doubling, reached nearly $142,900, one of the highest prices ever recorded for a modern Jefferson nickel error. Strike-through errors are yet another category worth exploring. These occur when foreign material, cloth fibers, grease, or other debris gets between the die and the coin during striking. The result is depressed or distorted features on the surface of the coin. While small strike-throughs might be interesting, bold and visually dramatic examples from 2002 have commanded prices from $40,000 to over $60,000 in documented sales. The difference between a normal 2002 P nickel and one of these rare error coins is enormous. A regular example is common, affordable, and easy to replace. It shows no anomalies, strikes consistently, and sits quietly in circulation or a collection. An error coin tells a story. It shows exactly where something went wrong in the minting process, and that imperfection instantly turns it into something distinctive and rare. Collectors don't just pay for the coin, they pay for the rarity, uniqueness, and certainty that no other coin quite like it exists in the same condition. Auction history tells us much about how error coins are valued by the collector community. In one recent sale, a certified double die 2002 P Jefferson nickel brought around $68,340 after fierce competition among bidders who understood the rarity of the piece. In another major sale, a dramatic off-center strike with exceptional eye appeal sold for $98,200, far surpassing estimate, proving that condition, visual impact, and story can dramatically impact final price. And when wrong planchet or combination errors appear, as with the example close to $142,900, the prices remind us that even modern errors can rival the greatest rarities from much older coinage. Experts often emphasize that not all errors are meaningful. Damage from circulation, intentional tampering, or post-mint alterations can produce irregularities that do not add value and often decrease it. Only genuine mint errors, those that occurred during the striking process and are verified as such, generate significant collector interest. For collectors and hobbyists, the thrill lies in spotting unusual features. A doubled letter, an odd blank edge, a shifted date, or an unfamiliar texture can be the first clue that a 2002 P Jefferson nickel might be something extraordinary. With careful examination, sometimes using magnification or reference books, people can separate a regular coin from one that might be worth a considerable amount in the end. The story of the 2002 P Monticello Jefferson nickel error coin is a reminder that even modern coins produced in quantity can still hide extremely rare and valuable gems. From values around $49,550 on the lower end for confirmed double dies, to astonishing prices near $142,900 for broad strikes and wrong planchet examples. These error nickels show that collecting isn't just about age, it's about rarity, uniqueness, and the unexpected surprises that can turn everyday change into a significant discovery.